finished with. Oh God. Oh, Mary. I mean, the thing is, I mean, he was on the ground, and I'll never forget. This years ago. We were at a buddy's house. A bunch was watching a game, and one guy was drunk and mouthy about, someone dropped like something an easy pass, and someone goes, "Hey, catch this." It's like, yeah, it ain't as easy as you think. But that was a hail mary, and he was on the ground not expecting it. But it's one of, and in that scenario, it's like he's just trying to. Oh God, yeah. And our GM where I work, he's a Bears fan, so I'm like, your fucking Bears cost hurt the Bengals. Yeah, well they put. For I've got questions on. Jack, is this your last name? If if I have to do two goodbyes tonight, I'm gonna get all emotional. Which which agreement? Uh, oh, we are. Oh, for the sale. Oh, okay. Well, yeah, yeah. Okay, yeah. If I gotta give two goodbyes tonight, if I gotta give two goodbyes tonight, I'm gonna get all emotional. You know, show love Dennis. He got me into an NFL stadium suite.
Steve, were you ready? Okay, we'll call tonight's meeting to order. Will you please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? Okay, I'd like to welcome everyone to our meeting tonight. Will you call the roll, please?
Mr. Bachman?
Here.
Henning?
Here.
Gorman?
Here.
Merkel?
Here.
Kelly? Here. Lieberman?
Here.
And Stevens.
Here. Okay, the first item on our agenda tonight is a public hearing, and hopefully that's why some of you folks are here. If there's anyone in here that thinks they might speak, even if you don't have to, but if you think you might, if you would please stand up and raise your right hand, because we have to swear you in for it. Anyone else? Okay. Do you solemnly swear the testimony that you may give before the board will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? If so, say, I do. Okay, thank you. That wasn't so bad, right? Okay, I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Kuntz.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, City Council. So before you tonight is case PC 23-04. The applicant is Bellasarella Pizza LLC, and this is for a final plan modification on Plan Development District at the Village of North Clayton. This particular case was submitted to staff on November 8, 2023. It is for a plan modification to a previously approved final development plan. Again, the applicant is Bellasarella Pizza LLC. The property owner is the City of Clayton. This is the 3.78 acres that the City of Clayton owns at the corner of National and Esther Price Way, which has also been previously known as Pro Action Drive. Legal notice was placed in the newspaper for tonight's meeting on December 9th, and it was put in a local, letters were mailed out to all the surrounding property owners on November 28th. As previously indicated, this is on the city's own property out of Village of North Clayton along National Road. The parcel ID is M60-03102-0112. The current zoning is Plan Development District. Again, there's a final development plan meeting that it has come back before City Council in the past, and a final development plan was approved. That's why this particular case is before the City Council tonight, is that there's a change on what was originally approved. This particular case has nothing to do with land agreements or anything. This just has to do with the use and the zoning at the property in question. You were included with your staff report and application and the site plan and elevations for the proposal. As everyone, I believe, knows, Bellasarella is a locally owned small business owner by sisters Elizabeth and Gail. They've become one of the region's most popular mobile food vendors. They've been out back in the day at Northmont Community Market. They go to a lot of fundraisers out at the YMCA and locally as well as regionally in the Montgomery County, Miami Valley area. And another thing that makes this particular project very appealing to staff is the fact that when we were doing the Plan Clayton project, one of the community survey results was that one of the desired economic features that the residents wanted was more locally owned entrepreneurs and locally owned restaurants in the community. This new space would eventually expand to also include a 3,000 square foot event space. The proposed space would serve as a prep kitchen and their continued mobile food vendor business, as well as a sit-down restaurant, including outdoor seating. This is the property in question, as City Council is well aware where the property is located at. You can see the surrounding property uses. Everything in the Village of North Clayton is zoned plan development. Directly to the east is single-family residential, and across the street is the City of Inglewood. This is just a closer up. This building right back here is the Esther Price, just for a point of reference. And this is the commercial building back here. So the Phase 2 approval for the final development plan was originally approved back in 2006, specifically on April 12th. As previously mentioned, it is on the corner of National Road and Esther Price Way, previously known as Lofton Drive and Pro Action Drive. On April 12th, the project that was approved included a a sports complex and medical office facility that was approved at 180,000 square feet. That was the total size of that, and that was actually on what is now our parcel, as well as the parcel directly to the south of us, which was a total of almost 8 acres. At that time, there was a press conference that was held by Continuum Clubs, Inc. and North Clayton Development announcing the plans for the Pro Action Drive Sports Arena and the Medical Center at this location. As we all know, for a variety of factors, that project never went through. This is what was approved on that final development plan, approved by City Council. As you can see right here, this is the property in question. It has now been split in half. This is the rendering, the market material that was sent out, but again, that's showing the rather large sports complex and medical center. This is a close-up of that particular property in question. I want to draw your attention to this right through here. This is a 50-foot gas easement that goes through the property and cuts it diagonally, which makes development on our part of that property very difficult for a variety of factors. I believe we all know the history of the property, but just for point of reference and to get it on public record, after the property went into bankruptcy, it was sold to another developer. At that time, that particular developer had a partner. That developer and his partner both passed away, and the property soon found itself in probate court in the state of Indiana. During that time while I was in probate court, there was a lot of assessments that were added to the property taxes for nuisance abatements that the city undertook for high grass and a variety of other factors. Soon the property taxes rose to almost $100,000 that the city was owed for those nuisance abatements. Eventually, in June of 2018, we worked with the probate court to come to an understanding where they would split the property in half. The city would receive 3.78 acres, and we purchased that for $105,000. With the majority of those the proceeds from that sale being returned to the city to make the city whole on the property taxes that were owed. At that time, the reason we did that was that we were engaged with the Dayton Metro Libraries in an attempt to bring the new Northmont branch out to North Clayton to establish a community anchor out at the site. As everyone recalls, at that time, we were having discussions with the library to donate that land to them in order just to get that community anchor and to kind of try to spur some economic development out at the site. For a variety of factors, that didn't go through. The library went out, they did an assessment of the site where the gas easement was at, made them developing for their particular campus impossible. So in 2020, we listed that with a commercial real estate broker, and we've been marketing for commercial end users ever since then. We've had no offers on the land, and the only offers that we've had have actually been for, not offers, inquiries was for a gas station and for a self-storage facility. So at that time, we've been working with Bella Sorella. We've had informal conversations over the years about the potential of them relocating out of Village of North Clayton. They obviously, for their future growth plans, they had anticipated putting a new freestanding restaurant somewhere in this region. We had discussions about this particular site. They are born and raised, city of Clayton, again, that locally owned restaurant feel. And they felt that the site would fit what they were looking for. They did renderings, they did some plans, and what happened was that it came in super way over budget because, as we know, workforce and supply costs have gone through the roof as a result of COVID. So they went back to the drawing board. They came up with some new plans, and those plans are what's before you guys today for your consideration. And again, the reason that it's before City Council today is because it's different than what was originally approved. What was originally approved was for 180,000 square foot sports complex and medical office. This is more along the lines of a 3,000 to 4,000 square foot restaurant with the potential to expand another 3,000 feet. So that's the reason for the plan modification part of it. That is what is up for approval tonight. When they submitted the new plans, we did send that out to all the different departments. These are the comments that were returned to staff from the different departments. The Clayton Police Department, their only response was that they wanted the numbers for the address to be larger on the building, so for life safety, they would be able to locate the building easily if there was ever a call into dispatch. The Clayton Fire Department had no comments specific to the site design. They obviously will have to review and improve all fire suppression, alarm systems, life safety things that they normally do for commercial buildings. And the Clayton Public Works Department had no comment. Our engineer group had 4 comments, which actually have been subsequently addressed by the applicant since the Planning Commission, but these were the 4 comments. Parking table indicates some ADA spaces. They asked for an increase there. There are some questions about the parking and curb design, talking about stormwater outlet pipes, and wanted to make sure that detention basin was adequately sized. Again, all those things have been addressed by the applicant since the Plan Commission and since those comments. So here's the projected site plan, and I have some other ones, but again, you'll see the easement right through here. The reason the easement makes it so difficult to design on this particular property, and you notice it on the sports complex too, the sports complex was back off National Road. You can't build a structure on the gas easement. CenterPoint will not allow that to happen. You can put a parking lot on the easement, but it's very difficult, and you have to jump through a whole lot of hoops and a whole lot of inspections, because again, there's a high-pressure gas line going through that area. So they had to design it back off National Road a little bit. And these are the elevations of what the building looks like. Very similar to what's out there today in terms of the Esther Price and the commercial strip center. They've gone through a couple renderings. They've also worked with the North Clayton Community Authority and Homeowners Association to make sure that all the citizens that have invested out of the Village of North Clayton are good with this design. You can see, so this is looking at north. So that's the side of the building that would be facing National Road. This will be west, which is when you pull in on Esther Price Way. So those are the two main areas. Facing north also, we'll have outdoor seating, which will be available. Eventually what will happen is that there will be a 3,000 square foot addition that comes off the side here. Again, this is the addition. This is the outdoor seating, and they allow for some, again, some additional outdoor seating expansion too. Some additional renderings. Really, when we've done community surveys, when we've been engaged with the public, what this particular use does is it checks all the boxes off for what we've been looking for at the Village of North Clayton in terms of restaurant, commercial, and use anchor. This is preliminary landscape plan. So, again, this is a plain development. Because it's a plain development, it's not a straight zoning. The zoning code lays out the different things that we have to consider for a plain development. Those things are found in section 11.11.21. In terms of plan modifications, there's two things that it states. Subsection 1 states, because of the difficulty in being able to supply precise data at the time of approval of a final development plan, it may be necessary to make certain modifications to the final development plan at a later date. That's just really more of the common sensing that is included with the zoning code. Obviously, something that's been approved 10 or 15 years ago can't project what's going to be there in the future. So it allows for a plan modification to take place. Section 2 states, modification of the final development plan shall not deter from the general intent and purpose as originally approved by the City Council. No modifications unless approved by City Council shall be approved that will increase density or intensity, decrease parking and loading areas, and reduce usable open space, and reduce distance between structures and the perimeter property lines. So, going through, I think it's pretty evident when you go through those four things. You're going from 180,000 square foot of building that was approved with a whole lot of parking, smaller amount of green space, what have you. So we'll just go down. The proposed use will not increase the density and intensity. I think that's pretty self-evident from 180,000 down to, at its largest, 7,000 or 8,000 square feet. In terms of parking and loading, this has no impact on public parking spaces. All the parking will be on privately owned property. Number 3, the building's architecture is very similar in other commercial structures found in the Village of North Clayton. And number 4, the applicant's going to be required to submit stormwater plans that's going to be reviewed by our engineer and our Public Works Department. It checks all the boxes in terms of why you do a plan modification and meeting the threshold of being able to approve a modification. The Plan Commission heard the case on November 27th and voted at that time unanimously to recommend approval for this particular modification. Along the same vein, staff recommends the application be approved with the following conditions. And those conditions are very simple, just to incorporate all the staff comments that were from our engineer's office and the police department in with the final approval. That's what the Plan Commission, they approved it with that condition. And again, the applicant's already addressed all those comments from staff subsequently from the original recommendation of approval from the Planning Commission. I'll be happy to answer any questions from a staff perspective.
Is there any questions or comments from council?
Can we ask, after the individuals present, can we bring Jack up if necessary? Yeah. Okay. I'm good for right now then.
All right, thank you.
Anything else,
Jack?
Brendan? Oh, I'm
Jack,
sorry.
just got Just couple simple questions.
Yeah. You say simple. You
Well,
promise?
Hopefully. Exterior screening for light at night as far as trees or?
So they'll have to
the
conform with
exterior
what the
lighting?
zoning code, the zoning code's very specific on what the lighting's allowed to be. They're gonna have to conform to all the architectural features and regulations that are found in, the Clayton zoning code and the North Clayton standards.
Yeah, I was just thinking of the people that live on Hoke Road as far as screening for exterior lighting.
Any exterior lighting that they have will be, again, will conform, will be directed towards the ground. You can't have glare going over property lines and those types of things. And the outdoor seating will be facing National, won't be facing Hoke. Where the face of the building is going to be National and Esther Price Way, it won't be facing Hoke. But any lighting that may be on that side of the building will have to conform. It'll be exactly the same as any other area.
You mentioned the retention basin, it's all on the property,
Correct.
and based on what you said, it's been deemed adequate for the size of the building
Yes.
and potential.
Just doing a rough review. They will obviously have to give in more detail. The applicants actually already submitted stormwater plans. We just haven't started the review yet because we didn't want to until we got through this phase.
But they need it, if there's a plan for future expansion,
That'll all be taken
they have
into
to
consideration,
accommodate
absolutely.
that at this time as far as the plan.
That's, and the builders here, and they can answer exactly how their plans are in terms of the stormwater plans, but I believe that's been designed to be able to adequately take on the 3,000-foot addition.
Okay, I said it was simple.
All right.
Wasn't that simple. Any other questions or comments, Brendan, Tim? Anything else at this time, Tina, Dennis? Okay, so we're gonna, I need a motion to open the floor for public comment. Someone make a motion?
So moved.
Sir, first you need to ask if you guys have any questions for the applicant,
Is there any questions for the applicant?
or you may want to ask if the applicant would like to say anything.
Does the applicant wish to speak at this time? Okay.
If we have questions for the ordinance part, should we ask the business owners now or later? Because, I mean, we're not going to allow for visitor comments before, and I have some questions in regards to the contract.
You can ask them.
Well, so are you talking about the land purchase contract, or are you talking about,
Land purchase contract.
so I would wait, so visitor comments are prior to that, to the ordinances. And then two, they're connected, but they're two separate things. So this is just the plan modification for the PDD.
I understand,
Yeah.
and I don't have a problem with the
We'll make sure
modification.
whatever questions you have, you'll have time to ask.
I move we close the public hearing.
You mean open the public, for public comment?
No, I meant we close the public hearing, just what I said, Mayor. Nobody wanted to speak, so.
Second.
Yeah.
I move we open it to the public then.
Second.
Motion to open the hearing to the public by Mr. Gorman, second by Mr. Henning. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, so I'm going to ask at this time if there's anyone in the room here that wants to speak that are proponents. If you would step up and give your name and address for the record, thank you.
Right. I am Scott Fraser. I live at 4973 Steineman Street in the village of North Clayton. I am the recent past president of the Owners Association for about 3-4 years. Seemed like forever. But I'm here just to say that two things. One is to let you know that the residents of the village are unanimously behind this. There's no objections. Also, Vance Garner, who is president of the Community Authority, couldn't be here, but he said to make sure that you know that the Community Authority is resoundingly behind this. Also, to let you know that over the years that I was president, Bella Sorella has been really great in terms of communicating with the village. Shared their plans, we had feedback, they adjusted them, and finally, Bella Sorella has been at our community events at the Fountain Square Park several years. So, I mean, everybody has had a chance to taste this, and that's probably why they're all so resoundingly behind it. So I wanted to just make sure that everybody knew that. Questions?
Excellent, thank you.
Sure.
Appreciate you stepping up. Is there any other proponents? Hearing none. Is there any opponents to this? Anyone who thinks this is a bad idea? And seeing none.
Can I now move that we close the public hearing, Mayor?
You can.
Second.
Motion to close the public hearing, or the public comment section of the hearing by Mr. Gorman, second by Mr. Henning. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, let the record show that was unanimous. And is there a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Second.
Motion to close the public hearing by Mr. Gorman, second by Ms. Kelly. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, the public hearing is closed. Thank you. Our next item is the clerk's report.
First, you have before you the work session minutes of December 7th, 2023.
I'll move for approval.
Second.
Motion to approve as written by Mr. Gorman, second by Mr. Merkel. And I think
I have to abstain.
Mr. Henning has to abstain, so I have a roll call, please.
Mr. Bachman?
Yes.
Henning?
Abstain.
Gorman?
Yes?
Merkel?
Yes.
Kelly?
Yes.
Lieberman?
Yes.
And Stevens.
Yes. Let the record show that was unanimous with one abstention. And the
Also
council
have-
meetings?
Yep, you also have before you the council meeting minutes of December 7th, 2023.
I'll move for approval.
Second.
Motion to approve as written by Mr. Gorman, second by Ms. Kelly. Will you call the roll, please?
Bachman?
Yes.
Henning?
Abstain.
Gorman?
Yes?
Merkel?
Yes.
Kelly?
Yes.
Lieberman?
Yes.
And Stevens.
Yes. And let the record show that was unanimous with one abstention. So is there any visitors' comments anybody want to say anything tonight? Step up to the podium on, this is on any subject? And hearing none at this time, so we'll move on. So we are, we find that the need for a quick, it'll be quick, executive session to discuss.
Matters pertaining to the sale of real estate.
Is there a motion that we go into executive session now? Usually we kind of wait till the end of this, but it has to do with something else on the agenda, so.
I'll move for an executive session stating the matters Martina stated.
I'll second a short executive session.
Motion by Mr. Henning to go into executive session, second by Mr. Gorman. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, we're going to go into executive session, so what we're going to ask everyone, if you could just step out into the lobby and please stay with us. It'll be short.
Jack, I just have a question to Martina. How do we change the, I move we close the executive session?
Motion to close the executive session by Ms. Gorman, second by Mr. Henning. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, we're out of executive session. Okay, welcome back. Sorry for the inconvenience there. Okay, so we are going to move on to our next item, which is old business. And there's one ordinance.
Ordinance O 122327, an ordinance approving a 20% increase of the competitive bid threshold pursuant to the city charter sections 8.02B and 8.02C1.
Move to approve.
Second?
This is the second reading, so this will be the final approval. Motion by Mr. Merkel, second by Mr. Gorman. All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
All opposed? Okay, and let the record show that that ordinance was unanimous. And we have a couple of items on new business. We read the first one, please.
Resolution number RZC 2304, a resolution adopting, rejecting, or modifying the recommendation of the Planning Commission to approve with specified conditions the request for modification of the final development plan for Phase 2 of the Village of North Clayton.
That was what we discussed tonight. So.
I'll move for approval, adopting the new plan.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Gorman to accept, excuse me, as written. Second by Ms. Kelly. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, thank you. And looks like we have a couple of ordinances here. Read the first one, please.
Ordinance O 122328, an ordinance authorizing the city manager to sell a 3.7884 acre parcel of property located at the corner of National Road and Proaction Drive and bearing parcel ID number M60-03102-0112 to Bella Sorella Pizza Company, LLC, for a price of $200,000 and subject to the provisions concerning forgiveness of the loan for the purchase price in return for maintaining an agreed level of employment and other conditions as contained within a certain purchase and sale agreement with the purchaser and declaring an emergency.
Mr. Mayor, I'd move to table that.
Second.
Motion to table that ordinance by Mr. Lieberman, second by Mr. Henning. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, that ordinance will be tabled for January. And we read the second ordinance, please?
Ordinance O 122329, an ordinance authorizing amendments to designation of job categories and pay schedules and declaring an emergency.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. You have before you the proposed 2024 job categories and wage scales. This includes a proposed 2% cost of living increase for the top wage for non-union employees. Of course, you see that the starting rate for the exempt employees remains the same. Also changing in the 2024 wage scales, you'll see the increase in the clerk of council pay. That was per the recommendation from the Salary Commission, and a motion was made and approved by council on August 3rd of this year. Also, minimum wage rose to $10.45 this year, so you will see that reflected in some of the part-time seasonal rates. And this will, if it goes through, will begin on January 8th of 2024.
Is there any
Any
questions
questions?
or comments for Elaine on this?
I'll move for approval.
Is approval is an emergency.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Merkel to declare an emergency, second by Mr. Bachman. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Move for approval of the ordinance.
Second?
Mr. Merkel motions to approve the ordinance, and second by Mr. Lieberman. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, let the record show that that's unanimous.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. And we have some additional resolutions.
Resolution R 122372, a resolution imposing an immediate moratorium on the issuing and processing of permits allowing retail dispensaries, cultivators, or processors of adult-use marijuana within the city of Clayton, Ohio.
Did we ask you the questions, Amanda?
If you'd like, yes.
Okay. We already have a cultivator in the city. This is not retroactive to affect them?
It is not. It does not affect medical marijuana. It's
Okay,
only
and-
recreational.
And what I read, it says that a lot of cities around us have come up with the same memorandum, but a lot of theirs has a time limit of 6 months or so, and ours is unlimited the way I read it.
Ours is 180 days, and I think it expires June 15th unless council takes some action prior to that to change it.
Yeah, it says 9 months.
Put that in, maybe, I don't know, Miranda, or Martina, how can we do that? I'll move for approval.
Well, before we do, it's also my understanding, I think, that if prior to that time, if the state legislature were to develop standards and laws relating to this, that we could remove the moratorium at any time.
Yeah,
You
the way-
could remove that.
The way
at any
Section
time.
4 reads is the moratorium shall be in effect for a period beginning from the effective date of this resolution through the earlier of June 15, 2024, until changes are enacted to amend the codified ordinances of the city of Clayton to address these issues, or until council approves legislation explicitly revoking this moratorium, whichever occurs first.
So we could actually extend it also if we decide at that time.
Or reduce.
Yep, reduce or extend.
Question I kind of have is, kind of playing devil's advocate here of, like, if we weren't to do this, and my understanding of this, and maybe just for, for some clarification, a lot of this does come down to the retail end of it. So let's just say, for example, two closest retail places to me, Cases and UDF. If we weren't to, if we turn this down, this resolution, could that technically mean Cases and UDF could, start selling marijuana?
If the state gets their ducks in a row and they start issuing licensing and Casey's and UDF both get licenses, then yes, they could potentially sell.
Okay, but it wouldn't be, it was almost feeling from the last meeting, it kind of almost sounded like if we didn't do anything, and maybe it's also how the media has been portraying it too, it's almost made it sound like, well, if we don't pass a moratorium, then it's kind of the Wild West out there. Way west, like San Francisco, but.
No, that's not the case. I mean, there are still licensing procedures through the state that they don't have set up yet.
It's a little bit like where we were with the medical marijuana, when we did the moratorium there, just for a while until we were able to figure out what the state was doing.
I recall, and that was before I was on council, I do recall hearing, a moratorium like a lot did then. Now, obviously, that was passed by the state legislature, so this
We
is
also
post.
had 2 lots under contract if they got the license to sell the medical marijuana on Main Street.
Any other questions or comments? Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second the motion.
Motion to accept the resolution as written by Mr. Merkel, second by Mr. Gorman. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, let the record show that that's unanimous. And will you read the next resolution, please?
Resolution R 122373, a resolution authorizing the purchase of a Lucas device and a powered stair chair from Stryker Medical Emergency Care for use by the fire department at a total cost to the city of Clayton not to exceed $9,743.67, and the remaining costs thereof to be paid with BWC grant funds.
Chief?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Coming before you, the fire department has received a grant almost in the amount of $40,000 to replace our current Lucas device and stair chairs. It's through the BWC, which we have been successful over the last 15 years. I think with this grant, we're up close to about $180,000 in BWC grant money for this type of equipment. And this equipment is actually replacing older models that were purchased with BWC grant funding as well. And through the BWC, which is the Bureau of Workers' Comp, they put grant programs out like this for new technology and new devices that enhances safety of the personnel. And we report to them on a 3 and 6, 9, 12-month basis for 2 years. And they gather that information so they can have information to give out to other departments saying, if we buy this, what kind of injuries can we prevent? Did the injuries go down? It's all about statistical data so they can provide safety advice to different companies, different organizations. So the Lucas devices is, again, for doing chest compressions on people that need CPR. And the stair chairs, we have stair chairs now. The new ones are powered, so they actually go up and down the steps, which we don't have to actually use muscle and backs and knees and everything to actually make that happen. So they're excited to see what kind of data we can give them on that. So it's really good for us. We get newer equipment, and that equipment's about 9 years old now. So it's due to be replaced, and this was actually in our CIP, plan to be purchased here shortly. But we got grant funds to do it, so we're just asking you to authorize that for us to approve, or to purchase that.
I'll move for approval.
I just have a question.
Yes, sir.
Is this going to go into the 3 fire departments? It's just for Clayton?
Just for Clayton.
Just for Clayton.
And actually, Union got the same grant, so they're putting it in place as well. But it's completely separate. This is only on the Clayton Medic with this, yes.
I'll second Kenny's motion.
Motion by Mr. Henning to accept the resolution as written, second by Mr. Gorman. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, thank you, Chief. Let the record show that that resolution is unanimous. Will you read the third resolution, please?
Resolution R 122374, a resolution to authorize and approve the 2024 budget and permanent appropriations.
Evening. Last meeting, we did have our budget workshop and went over the details of that. So coming for you today for 2024 appropriation measures, looking at about 7.5 in personnel cost and a little over 10 million on operating expenses. And included in that operating expense number is 3.4 million in transfers from the general fund to the police, fire, service, EMS, and the debt to cover those funds that cannot cover themselves.
So really, the 7.5 million is like 11 million in personnel?
No, that's true personnel costs. It's just
So that's 7.5 with the 3.4 coming from the operating?
to cover that, some of those, yeah. So a total of 17, 705, 36 total budget.
I'll move to approve the budget.
Second. The motion to approve the budget as written by Mr. Gorman, second by Mr. Merkel. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Let the record show that that's unanimous. And will you read the fourth resolution, please?
Resolution R 122375, a resolution approving transfer of funds.
Come to you tonight to request transfer from the general fund to the debt service fund for $68,000. Our collections for the special assessments for the curb and gutter work we have done did not come in as what we projected. It's based on people paying their taxes, as well as we're starting to see the earlier work being totally paid off, and the amounts are going down now. So to make our debt obligation payments, we have one more OWDA loan coming up here at the end of this month. We need to transfer monies. It will not affect the general fund balance, though. We're not going to be utilizing all the transfers that we had proposed to the other funds. So I'll utilize those appropriations for this transfer. It's just moving from one fund to a different fund to transfer it.
Move for approval.
Second.
Motion to approve as written by Mr. Henning, second by Ms. Kelly. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, let the record show that's unanimous. And we read the final resolution, please.
Resolution approving amendment of 2023 appropriations and estimated resources.
So it is at the end of the year, so I'm trying to move appropriations around, utilize the budget we first adopted to pay for our expenses. So there are some transfers from operating expenses to personnel. We did collect more monies that need to be paid out, such as the agency fund. I'm asking for additional appropriations, but the resources are there to increase those. And then we had some grants that came in or other expenditures that you've already approved that we need to increase appropriations for. So I know there's a list there, but that's basically trying to get everything in line for year end so that when we close the books, we have not exceeded our appropriations or exceeded our estimated resources.
Just a quick question. When will you close the books? Is that done by the end of the year, or is it in January?
No, it'll be, usually it's about the second, third week of January. We go through, close any open purchase orders, make sure our bank accounts reconcile. We have to wait for those statements to come. Get the new, actually get ready to upload, once this is approved tonight, the budget to put into the system. So we go through a checklist of things on the operation side as well. Payroll's another big one to make sure we get everything right there before we close the year. So it will be in the middle of January.
That's the fun part of the job, right? December?
Awake at night.
I'll move for approval.
Second.
Motion to approve the resolution by Mr. Gorman, second by Mr. Henning. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Excuse me. Okay, let the record show that that's unanimous. Okay, that was it for the resolutions and ordinances tonight. The next item is our city manager's report.
Just a couple items for you this evening, Mayor and Council. City offices are closed on Friday, December 22nd, and Monday, December 25th, in observance of the Christmas holiday. And then city offices are again closed on Friday, December 29th, and January 1st, 2024, in observance of the new year. The Laura's Loft demolition is still scheduled for early 2024, so hopefully you'll be able to see that building's gone soon. Boards and commissions, we did advertise the BZA position as requested by council. We have not received any additional applications for that. However, if you do know someone who would like to serve, council can always bring a name whenever you make the decision on January 4th, who to place on that board. You did the recreational marijuana. And then just a reminder that our trash bid is currently out. Both Rumpke and Republic have expressed interest in trash hauling. So hopefully we'll have something to you soon. Our contract expires in June of 2024.
And I think trash will be a day late next week, won't it, Amanda?
Yes, trash is delayed for Christmas and New Year.
Do we have in the bid a donation of the large, like 40-yard dumpsters for the Sweep Clayton Clean?
Yeah, the bid that we put out is the same as prior.
So I know that we said Sweep Clayton Clean was potentially something that would have to get axed if the budget was as tight as we thought. Is this something that we could still do, like on an all strictly volunteer level with, I know a lot of us on council go and just assist residents that way?
So the cost does come in with staffing, and with the public service department unionized, we're not going to be able to allow them to just come and volunteer. It's going to have to be paid.
So we would just have to do it without them then if we do volunteers?
Yeah, but I think that would probably be nearly impossible to do without the help of that staff.
Well, then it would just be like, obviously, we wouldn't have the equipment to squish down in the dumpsters. It would just get fuller faster. But I think it would still be a nice thing to offer, even if they're not able to come and utilize that.
It's something that we can look at whenever we get closer to that time.
We could make it 1 hour, because they'd be full,
Yeah, I just think something to offer.
We're only going to make it 1 hour. Let's make it 10 to 11 instead of 8 to 9, okay?
Any other questions or comments for the city manager? Okay, I'm going to kind of just throw it out because we've put out, there was a lot of information tonight. Any other visitor comments? Anybody want to say anything? We all good? Okay. So we'll go to the council comments. Mr. Bachman, we'll start with you.
Good evening, everyone. Talking better. I'm not choking on that Miami tie this week. So want to start off, I think a lot of us saw the news from earlier today. Unfortunately, over in Preble County, right next to us, one of their patrol officers in the sheriff's department died in a car accident along with another passenger in another vehicle. Very always unfortunate for that, especially in that situation, here right before the holidays. So, just want to send my well wishes out to the whole Preble County community who's definitely hurting today. On lighter note, I know we're just in kind of the beginning phases of things here, but, to the folks in Bella Sorella, obviously there's been preliminary plans about this, and we've been kind of excited about it for a while. And I know some, factors have come into the delay of this, especially with the pandemic and rising costs and some other things. But, everything so far looks really good. I've had your product a couple times here. Excellent thing. Just everything about it would be an excellent addition to this community, especially, being someone local. Hopefully you're as big national chain decades down the road, and it all started here in Clayton. But if you just stay local here, we're fine with that too. So, like I said, with just, the preliminary things, still some things to go through, but, so far I think this is a wonderful thing, and hope that it continues to be, to move positively. Nothing else important right here. I'm kidding. Mr. Councilman Lieberman, Dennis, this is obviously your, last meeting up here. On paper, you and I probably shouldn't even be able to stand each other in a room. As you've stated, I'm on the right side, you're on the the left side here. It's your last meeting, I get in one dig. Calling you a communist, that's my one. Called you a nerd last meeting. I've learned quite a bit from you, over these past 6 years. Just, professionally here, personally, we had some ties with some mutual friends like the Harpers. Then to, find our obviously mutual admiration with both of our alumni being Mid-American Conference team. So kind of fitting that they didn't play until the last year that we were serving together twice. And you got the bigger one, the bigger win, unfortunately, on my end. But, like I said, I've learned quite a bit from you, just of, really of being a calm and calculated legislature here, of taking a step back, dissecting all the information, and, looking at it from every standpoint there, and looking at it from the reason, what's the best thing to do, for the community. So, I appreciate that. Appreciate the friendship. I've grown with both you and your wife, wonderful people. You have my number, so not going to be the last time I'm seeing you. And I owe you a game at the Glass Bowl. Yep. It's not quite an NFL stadium here, but it's not too bad. So, keep in touch. But thank you, Dennis.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Henning?
I also wanted to, share our condolence to the Deputy Hamilton, who was in the car accident today in Preble County. Texted Sheriff Simpson earlier today, and it's just heartbreaking, especially this time of the year around the holidays, and he has a 10-year-old daughter, so we'll be continuing to pray for their family. I was not at the last meeting, and I wanted to say congratulations to Jack on your new role with Brookville. Glad you're staying local, and I wish I could see you at the prayer breakfast, but I'm not able to make it, so I'll see you at the next one. Dennis, it's been a pleasure serving with you for 10 years now, I believe. I remember early when you got on, and we had a lunch get-together at La Fiesta just to get to meet and talk and discuss goals that we had for the city. And we know we valued our friendship, and though we've not always seen eye to eye on council, like a family, we always come together and get a holiday picture, especially at the end of every meeting of the year. So we hope that it's not the end of us seeing you around the city. We know it's not. We'll see you at the football games and at Bella Sorella's new restaurant in North Clayton. As for breakfast with Clayton, or breakfast with Santa, Earl, thank you and your group of people so much, Jack, everyone that volunteered for that, from council too. It was phenomenal. And seeing the kids smile and have such a great time, and for Mr. and Mrs. Claus coming, it was just an awesome event. So thank you so much for that. You know, I've always hit on families telling us they have the ability to make awesome memories here in their hometown, and that just means so much because not everybody has the ability to go and do family trips, et cetera, and seeing grandparents and kids and grandkids all together at Meadowbrook, that's something very memorable for so many local families. So definitely want to see that continue in the future. Bella Sorella, I already acknowledge you, but we obviously love your pizza. My wife is very excited that you're putting one in and hopes that the lines are a lot shorter once it opens. And then finally, I just would say I wish you all, and Natalie does too, a happy and healthy new year. We can pray that it's a healthy and prosperous year for us all. And we have many successes in 2024, and health is the most important thing we can ask for. So I hope we all have it ringing in the new year. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Gorman?
Yes, I'd like to thank Jack and Earl and his committee, the park committee, for Breakfast with Santa. And I'd like to thank Santa Claus for taking time to come and join us. And I'd also like to welcome the Corrados to town. And, you've lived here all your life, ladies, but now you'll be part of us, right? And welcome. And I'd also like to thank Dennis for, it's been a pleasure working with you for 10 years. I've been here longer than that, Dennis, but it's been a great 10 years since you've been here, and wish you luck in whatever you do from here on. And please come back and see us once in a while.
Thank you, sir.
If not here, you know where we're at, Dennis.
Mr. Merkel?
I won't repeat what everyone else has said. I mean, my condolences to the Sheriff's Department in Preble County. Welcome Bella Sorella for the opportunity to bring in a new business into the area. You know, we hope for success on all those things that everyone else who has expressed. The holiday seasons, Christmas time coming forward, you know, wishing best for everyone as far as the holiday season. Keeping it short, Dennis, I have enjoyed working with you all these years. And like I said, you know, we may not see eye to eye on a lot of things, but always knew when we were done, we could shake hands. And that was, to me, was the most important thing, that we could discuss things and walk away friends. So I appreciate that, and don't be a stranger. I value the camaraderie and the friendship that we've had this time, and I would like it to continue. So.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Kelly?
First of all, I'd like to thank all the staff members. Jack, first of all, you're an amazing person. You work so hard and dedicate yourself to the city of Clayton. Brookville is going to be honored to have you for a city manager, because you're going to be an amazing city manager. And second of all, the Breakfast with Santa is always a great event. Thank you, Dad, for that. You worked very hard, and the staff. Bella Sorella, it's about time. We've been waiting for this for so long. I know it has. And finally, we're on the way. Thank you so much, and I think it's going to be a huge success. I really do. The city's been begging for it. Small business, restaurant, growth. That's what we're looking for. On another note, Dennis, I've been on council with you. We had our orientation together for 10 years. I've had the extreme honor to be on council with you. I appreciate all the success that we've had. We've done a lot up here with all of us and you. And it's going to be sad to see that you're not going to be next to me. But on the other hand, I'm going to save money with the coffee. Not having to deliver coffee every week. But no, seriously, I think bigger things are to come with you. And I appreciate everything that you've done for us and all the staff and all the council. Thank you. And Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays to everyone.
Dennis?
Well, I promised Tim, who told me that he went to an event the other night in Kettering for a council person who took 2 hours to say his goodbyes, that since I only worked for 10 years and he worked for 37, that I would do it in an hour and 10 minutes. But no, I promise I'll be
I
short.
told you I wouldn't be here at
You
that time.
did. You
too,
did
didn't I,
tell me
Dennis?
that. So I'm not gonna talk about my election. I lost. Mr. Farmer, I wish you the best of luck, and I really hope that you succeed, because if you succeed, Clayton succeeds. So I do wish you the best of luck. I do, though, want to spend a couple minutes about what it means to me to be on council. So when, there's two different things. There's politics, which I was chairman of the Democratic Party for 13 years, which I know, I'm sorry, Brendan, you hate for me to say that, but I was. And during that time, I learned about politics, and getting elected is different than when you are elected, and your responsibilities are different, because people, particularly in today's politics, people do and say anything to get elected. And our constituents, the people who vote, they vote on what they hear. So if they're hearing things that are distorted or lies or misrepresentations, they're going to vote based upon what they think are truth. When you get elected, I think you have an obligation to tell the truth. I think you have an obligation to the people in your constituents in your community to act upon what you think are the facts, to act upon what you believe after listening to your staff, after reading all the material every 2 weeks that you're given, to weigh that and to vote on what you think is best. That's why we're a republic. If we were a true democracy, then everybody would be voting on every issue that we have, and we can't do that. I mean, we're too big and too modern today to do that. So we're a republic, and the person who you vote to represent you, I think the reason you vote for them is to weigh everything and to tell the truth and to vote the way that you believe is the right way to vote after looking at all that. I could have voted differently in this last time around on a development. I think had I done that, maybe I'd still be up here for another 4 years. Maybe not. Maybe someone still would have run against me. But I knew that my vote would probably cost me the election. But yet, that's why I'm here. I'm here to do what I think is right, and I did what I thought was right. And I think everybody on council did the same thing. No matter which way you came out on it, we all weighed all the facts, and we did what we thought was best, and we listened to our community. And after listening and weighing all that, we voted the way that we thought was right. So I certainly don't condemn the way that people vote. It's a procedure, I think, that is even more important than the ultimate vote. Because if we don't do that, if we don't weigh the facts, and if we're not true to ourselves and true to why we're here, then why are we here? Because just getting elected every 4 years is not a good enough reason. We have to be here to do what's good for our community. And I truly thought I did that. I tried to do it. It doesn't mean my conclusion was the same as everybody else's. In fact, I'm very aware it wasn't the same as everybody else's. But it's still something that I think we in government owe our constituents to do. And if I had to vote again on this one vote, which was probably instrumental in costing the election, although there are other reasons people may not have voted for me too, but I would have voted the same way because I reached it in an honest way, and that's why I voted the way I did. I said I wasn't going to talk about my election. I guess I kind of did anyway, but I didn't mean to. What I mean to do is what I really want to say is when you're on council, it's different than running for council. You know, when you're on council, you owe the people your best effort to do what you think is right, not just what's going to get you reelected. And I'm sure that I know the people I know on this council believe that too, and I appreciate all of that. I don't want to spend a lot of time because I promised him I wouldn't, but I do want to thank some people for, in my 10 years, for what I see as hard work and true friendship. You know, Kevin Schweitzer, you know, this city wouldn't exist without you. I mean, you are a magnificent finance director, and I think everybody will soon learn that that's true. I mean, you take this stuff home to bed. I don't know how many times you've told us that it keeps you up at night. It's because you care about this city and about its finances and what happens. And I can't imagine a better finance director, and I want to thank you for all of that, for all of your work there. And Jack, you know, even though it was your development that you that you had to bring, you know, in my election year, but no, I wish you the best because you did what you thought was best for our community too, and as a result, you're moving up, and you deserve it. And I think you've just been a magnificent director of development. You know, I don't know who could have done a better job, and I've seen other people, and you have just been really great. You really have. And Elaine, you know, I give you a lot of grief, and probably will continue to, about where you graduated from, because, you know, OU is even more of a rival than Toledo was. And you never did wear Miami red after we beat you this year. But I have to tell you, it's been a real pleasure getting to know you and watching you work, because I think you have just done a great job. I think you've turned Meadowbrook around, not single-handedly, but almost single-handedly. I mean, you are going to be going great places, and it's been great working with you. It really has been. And I know Randy isn't here tonight, but I've already told him how much I've appreciated the things he does for our community. And, you know, whenever there's snow on our streets or work that needs to be done, he does it. He knows everything he's doing. He's the greatest, and we're so lucky to have had him. We really are. And, of course, then we have Matt Hamlin, our chief of police, who's also not here tonight. But, you know, we're not the safest city in Ohio for no reason. It's because he knows what he's doing, and he does well. And our police force is one of the best around. And I can tell you that as a defense lawyer, criminal defense lawyer, because I get to know a lot of police forces, and I see how they work, and I know what they do. Ours is top notch. I mean, we're up there. We're one of the best. And I thank him for making us one of the safest cities in Ohio. Brian, you know, I've sat back and I've watched you for 10 years, and you're more than a fire chief. I mean, you think in the future, which is what our city really needs and has needed. I have been so impressed with what you have done, able to coordinate all of our efforts with Inglewood, saving us millions of dollars, being able to coordinate with, frankly, cities that we've not always been on the best terms with. And, you know, without having to put a battleship on the river and start lobbing guns at them. But you've done great. You really have. And I just want you to know that it hasn't gone unappreciated, perhaps unsaid, but not unappreciated. Thank you. And Barb, you know, thank you for being patient with a lack of ability to know how to work a computer very well, and not laughing at my face, although I hear there were some chuckles behind my back, but I get that. But thank you. It's been a pleasure working with you too. And Martina, the sage advice that you have provided to us has really been great. You're good at your job, and I know that because your job is to keep us from getting sued, and you've had to pull me back a couple times from doing some of the things that I've wanted to do, and I really appreciate that. Thank you. And Steve, I know you're back there listening somehow, but you know, thanks for taking that 10 pounds off of me when it goes on TV. You know, I don't know how you've been able to do that, but I really appreciate it. You know, I want to go off script for a minute because Earl, you're the best, man. Our Parks Commission could not be better. You know, I remember when I got on council and our parks were, they weren't all that great, to be honest with you. And, you know, we had the opportunity to accept the gift of Meadowbrook and to turn that into something really good. And through your imagination and your ability, what you have shown this city is that we're more than brick and mortar. We're more than roads. We're more than police. We're more than fire. We're about people, and we're about the hearts of people. And you have become the soul of our city because you have shown people what it's like to have families get together and to have fun. And that's what a city our size should be. And I hope you're able to continue in that capacity. You and your entire Parks Commission have just been wonderful, and I want to thank you for that. Finally, I think it's finally, Amanda, I have just gotten to know you since we hired you, and I can tell you that I have been involved in a lot of different boards and community functions throughout my years. You are one of the best city managers I have ever seen. Thank you. And you are ethical. You are very caring about the people that work under you, and you care about this city. And I just wish you the best of luck and continue to navigate through all the landmines that we give you as council. And I just wish you the best of luck, and I couldn't be prouder to have you as my city manager.
Thank you.
I am not going to say goodbye to all of you because if you do need anything, you know how to reach me, and I'm willing to continue to help our city in any capacity that you all think is best. Finally, to my friends on council, and Tim, I only have a couple minutes left, so I'm going to cut yours short. Yeah, I know his name. I know his name. I remember his name. But Brendan, I mean, you and I have grown to be close friends, and I really, I appreciate that because maybe we're an example of how people in our world, even though we might be on different ends of the spectrum, you know, I'm on the good end and you're on that other end, and even though we're on the different ends of this spectrum, we're friends and we can work together and we can talk. And talking is how you solve problems. and I've appreciated serving with you. Thank you. Kenny, we also have had our moments, but I will always consider you a friend, and it's always been good talking to you, because once we let the emotions go and we're able to sit down and just talk rationally, I think that we're able to come to good conclusions. So I want to thank you for that. Tim, you're as cantankerous as you were when you were sitting on my screening committee when I was chair of the Democratic Party, and I've loved every minute of it. You are a wonderful addition to Clayton. You're our history. You're our backbone. I mean, you know everything from the beginning, I think, of the Civil War up until just recently, and it's been a real honor and joy to work with you. And Mayor, you know, it's been a lot of fun, and I know your heart is to see Clayton really progress, which I think it will. I think we just need to convince people that even though there's going to be jobs available in Clayton and in all the cities around us, that unless we want our children and our grandchildren living with us, that we have to develop housing, and that it's going to take some sacrifice, it's going to take development, it's going to take compromise. But if we don't develop that housing, then I just don't know where our city's going to be going in the future. And I know that you have that same goal in mind, and I wish you the best of luck. Greg, what you said earlier, I agree. We've been great friends, and I can remember having to take you to lunch one day early on in our relationships to talk to you about some issues on council at that time. And I remember having to pay for your lunch, and and I remember what you ordered, and it was not cheap, you know. But I wish you the best of luck, and I'll go out to lunch with you next time on your tab. And I wish you luck with your dad, too. And I look forward to keeping in touch. Tina, I can't tell you how much I enjoyed all those coffees, all those years, and it's great serving with you, too, and watching, even though we don't always agree on times, but I'm friends with you also. And just getting to learn more about our community through your sources has just been wonderful, and I wish you the best of luck, too. So to sum it up, this is a sad evening for me. I love this job. I love being with all of you. But the people in my ward have spoken. I have to honor that, which I will. And hopefully someday we can work together again. And if not, thank you. It's been an honor and a privilege.
Thank you, sir. I knew I should have went first. So I'm going to kind of repeat, most of the things that these other folks said. I'm going to make a comment on the Breakfast for Santa event. That was really great. Everyone that helped, appreciate that. It was a group effort, again, like always. I did tell Jack, we're going to try to get him back to MC it from now on. He didn't say yay or nay, but we'll keep working on him there. I didn't hear that. But anyway, I thought it turned out really great. It was very smooth, and there was no issues with it. And a lot of people there made that exact comment to me. They said, this has really been a great event, really smooth, no snags at all. So thanks to everyone that helped and showed up for that. To Bella Sorella, I want to say I'm looking forward to you coming also. I think it's really a great mix, the fact that you're a local company, for one thing, and that it'll be your first brick and mortar. And I actually think it could be a bigger thing for the city of Clayton than we're even thinking of right now, because we need a jump start out there. I think that, and that could be it. It could be just one business, and I just think it's really going to be a great fit. So hopefully we can, iron out those last few details and get everything going as quick as possible. I'm just really excited for you and excited for the city for that. Dennis, I want to say thank you for your service. You've been here longer than me, but I think the things that, kind of the things that you said, I would echo about you. I think I really enjoyed your style of communication. I think you were able to communicate with all of us and with our residents in a calm, rational manner. And sometimes it's hard in the heat of the moment, it's hard to do that sometimes. I appreciate that. I do appreciate the politics comment too, because although, we try to be unbiased, politics enters in almost everything. And I think, Dennis has been around the political world for a long time at a high level. And I think that adds to the background of being able to deal with people. And I think you've done a really great job on that. The other thing that I'll miss that we didn't mention is the fact that, being a lawyer, Dennis is the only lawyer, besides Martina, of any of us. And I think that helps. And that is actually, we laugh a lot about moving Dennis over to the left, from the right, but that's really not what we did. We moved him over so he could talk to the other lawyer, because I think there's a lot of important conversations that go on in the legal aspect of running a city our size. And you just don't think of that. You think of it, well, everybody's voting with their hearts and all this, but there's a lot of legal issues that go behind that. And I know Dennis was a valuable resource for that. And I know he spoke with Amanda a lot on that, and all of us on the legal stuff. So, well, we do appreciate your service. Done a fantastic job. I appreciate that. That's not to diminish Mr. Farmer. He's here. We're going to have you next month. So you got, I think you see the shoes to fill. But so we're counting on you for that. And I mean, I'm confident. I think everyone's confident that we're in good hands going forward also. So the last thing I want to say is just to the staff in general. I'm not going to go through everyone, but I think everyone did a fantastic job this year. We made a lot of strides. We got a lot of rooftops built. We're getting some new businesses in. We're getting some old buildings torn down. And, we've got some challenges ahead. We have revenue challenges ahead. And that's, like Dennis said, I think that's something we need to shout out to people here. We need to come together as a community and figure out the revenue piece of the equation here. The expenses part is easy. We can go through and we can cut left and right, but again, you can never cut your way to prosperity. We have to bring businesses in like we're trying with these folks. We have to build houses, wherever we can. We got plenty of space out there. We need to continue to develop, because it's not an expense issue, it's a revenue issue. So, like Dennis again alluded to, that's always going to be my focus as long as I'm involved with this group. We have to continue to grow, because as a city, it's not a zero-sum equation. If you're not growing, you're dying, and that's just the way it is. So, but I think we've had a great year in 2023. And I just look for more of the same and better in 2024. I kidded Jack over the years about hitting home runs, and I think, we've hit some home runs this year. We need to hit some more home runs in 2024. So it's not a one-person deal. It's all of us working together to bring business in. So with that, I just want to say thanks, everyone, for the good work. Thanks to all the staff, all the council, all the residents. We've had more residents at our council meetings this year than we've ever had. We've never, we usually sit up here and feel like we're talking to ourselves, but you folks coming it shows that we're starting to gain some, some backing out there, and we need involvement. It's just not our city's not run by 7 people or a 20-person staff. We just need everyone to pull together and bring this thing, get us on the right path here. So anyway, Happy New Year, Merry Christmas, whatever holiday you celebrate, and I look forward to 2024. So is there a motion to?
With that, I'd like to wish everybody a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year and move for adjournment.
Second, if we can everyone on the dais, if we could go in front and get a group picture, especially with Dennis's last one. Chief, if you could take it because you're tall, we'd appreciate it. Second.
Motion to approve by Mr. Gorman, second, I think, by everyone else. So we are adjourned. Thanks for coming, and Happy New Year and Merry Christmas, everyone.